Welcome to Truthful Manipulation. In a world where truth is bent, facts are framed, and influence is too often used without conscience, this podcast stands for something different. I'm Dave Kelsey, along with H. Daniel Mujahid, and together we expose manipulation, defend integrity, and help you see clearly in a world determined to confuse you. Welcome back to Truthful Manipulation. I'm Dave.
And I'm Daniel.
And today we're going to talk about something simple, peaceful, easy, not controversial at all. Religion, politics, humanity, tribalism, God, and why people can turn a church picnic into a cage fight over potato salad.
So basically, this is a calm episode.
Very calm. This is the kind of episode where everybody listens, reflects, and nobody sends an angry email.
That's beautiful, Dave. And also completely unrealistic.
Exactly. Today's title is One God, Man's Different Tribes.
Now, that title already tells the story because we say there is one God, one creator, one moral truth, one higher power. But man said, oh, that's nice. Let's form 4,000 groups, argue over every detail. Let's judge each other's parking and call it spiritual growth.
We got one God and somehow 900 tribes.
Let's be clear. Every tribe thinks God is sitting in their section.
Like God bought us season tickets.
Front row, center aisle, wearing their team colors.
But here's the real question. If God is one, why does man keep using God to divide everybody else?
Let's be clear from the start. This episode is not anti-faith.
Not anti-God.
Not anti-church or anti-masjid or anti-temple.
Not anti-prayer.
Not anybody's grandma who made you sit in the front row pew and behave.
Especially not her, because Grandma had one look that could straighten your whole soul out.
I know that's right. This episode is about manipulation.
That's right, because faith can lift people, but people can also use faith to control people. And there's a big difference between being led by God and being managed by a tribe with a newsletter.
Every tribe has a newsletter nowadays.
And somehow they all start with, "We regret to inform you."
After much prayerful consideration.
Which usually means we've already decided, but we want it to sound holy.
And that's where the manipulation sneaks in. Because often, once a group can convince you that questioning the group means questioning God, you're in trouble.
And that's the trap, because now you're not allowed to ask. Is that right? You're only allowed to ask, will the tribe still invite me to the cookout?
And Dave, let's be honest. People will betray their conscience for a good cookout.
Especially if there's ribs.
Beef ribs or not, ribs will test a man's integrity.
I've seen good people go silent over brisket.
But are you serious? When belonging becomes more important than truth, manipulation has entered the room.
Let's imagine man at the beginning. God says, love one another. Man says, absolutely. Then immediately turns around and says, but first we need committees.
The committee on who is actually right.
The subcommittee on who is mostly wrong.
The advisory board on suspicious outsiders.
And the fundraising team for the new building named after somebody who wanted humility.
And somehow, every tribe starts with good intentions. People need to belong. People need community. People need support. People need shared values. That's part of what's not bad.
Right. The problem starts when the tribe shifts from come belong with us to think like us, talk like us, vote like us, fear who we fear, hate who we hate, and please sign up and bring dessert next Tuesday.
Now, that's when community becomes control.
That's when faith becomes faction.
And that's when belief becomes a badge.
And that's when people start acting like God needs a membership card. Excuse me, sir. Are you on the approved list?
But you know God's with us.
Are you sure?
Yes. He liked our Facebook page.
That's the danger. Because when people believe God belongs only to their tribe, they stop seeing other people as fully human. They start seeing labels, outsiders, threats, enemies, problems. And once you stop seeing people as human, you can be manipulating into treating them in any kind of way you choose.
Now, here's a line for you, dear audience. A faith should be a mirror. Manipulation turns it into a megaphone. A mirror says, look at yourself. A megaphone says, look at them.
That's strong, because real faith should make you examine your own heart. But tribal faith makes you inspect everybody else's life like you work for a spiritual code enforcement.
Excuse me, I'm going to need to see a permit for that sin.
Sir, your humility appears to be out of compliance.
And your judgmental tone is parked in a no-grace zone.
That's how people act. They become experts in everybody else's flaw. They can identify your sin from across the room, but they can't find their own ego with a GPS.
Yeah, that's manipulation, ladies and gentlemen, because the tribe teaches people to look outward instead of inward. It keeps everybody busy judging outsiders, so they never question insiders.
Exactly. Manipulative tribes say, don't look at our corruption, look at their clothing. Don't look at our lies, look at their lifestyle. Don't look at our greed, look at their language. And don't look at our abuse of power, look at their attitude.
That's distraction dressed up as morality.
And distraction dressed as morality is one of manipulation's finest suits. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought, wait a minute, did I just agree to something I don't even believe in? That's manipulation. And that's exactly why we wrote Truthful Manipulation, a roadmap to live by. This book helps you recognize the pressure before it owns you, the guilt trip, the fear hook, the loyalty test, the emotional bait, and everybody else is doing it trap. And my favorite, you're just trying to protect you. That one usually means somebody's about to control you and ask you to thank them for it. Truthful Manipulation, a roadmap to live by, is not about teaching people how to deceive. It's about teaching people how to defend their conscience. Get the book, read it, share it, because awareness with integrity is dangerous. And integrity without awareness can get played like a cheap piano. Truthful Manipulation, a roadmap to live by, available now. And now back to today's episode.
One of the funniest and saddest things about human beings is this. We say we were made in God's image. Then we spend the rest of our lives trying to make God look exactly like us. Our image, our politics, our preferences, our access, our neighborhood, our favorite news channel, our favorite team, our favorite restaurant after service.
And God always seems to agree with whatever we already thought.
Amazing coincidence, eh?
Very convenient. It's like people pray and say, Lord, guide us. Then they pause and say, but preferably in the direction I already wanted to go.
And that's not guidance from God. That's spiritual GPS with the route preloaded.
Exactly. And when the tribe does that collectively, it becomes dangerous because now the tribe says, God wants what we want. God hates what we hate. God fears what we fear. God votes for what we vote. And God blesses our plans.
But maybe God is not our mascot.
Say that again?
Maybe God is not our mascot.
God doesn't exist to wear our jersey. God's not pacing the sidelines with a foam finger.
And yet that's how we act. We don't ask, are we on the side of truth? We ask, is God on our side?
That's backwards. Because the humble question's not, God, are you with my tribe? The humble question is, God, is my tribe still with truth? Every tribe has customer service, not official customer service, but people who keep everybody in line. You know the ones.
Yeah, the spiritual hell monitors.
Exactly. Loyalty referees. The tone police. We don't say that here, committee.
They don't wear badges. They wear concern.
Brother, I'm just concerned.
Which sometimes means, brother, you are making the tribe uncomfortable by telling the truth.
Exactly. And once the tribe gets uncomfortable, they don't always ask, is he right? They ask, how do we make him quieter?
Now that's where manipulation really shows up, because healthy communities can handle questions. Manipulative tribes treat questions like rebellion.
And that's a huge difference. A healthy tribe says, let's talk. A manipulative tribe says, who told you to think?
A healthy tribe says, bring your conscience. A manipulative crowd and tribe says, leave that outside. We already have a group opinion.
Like checking your coat.
Sir, you can pick up your conscience after the meeting.
But by then it's missing.
Or somebody took it and replaced it with a bumper sticker.
That's what tribal manipulation does. It takes conscience and replaces it with slogans.
Slogans are easy, you know. Souls are complicated. Slogans make people feel united. Souls require people to be honest.
And that's why tribes like slogans, because a slogan can fit on a hat. Truth usually requires a whole conversation.
A slogan says, we are the good ones. Truth says, are we acting good?
A slogan says, they're the problem. Truth says, what part of the problem belongs to us?
A slogan says, stand with the tribe. Truth says, stand with integrity, even when the tribe gets nervous.
And let me tell you, tribes get real nervous when integrity walks in the room.
Because integrity does not clap on cue.
Integrity doesn't repeat nonsense just because the group is excited.
Integrity does not say, well, everyone else is doing it.
Integrity says, everybody else may be doing it, but everybody else might be wrong. And that's not always popular at the family reunion.
Especially when Uncle Ray is holding court by the grill.
Every family has an Uncle Ray.
And Uncle Ray has solved the world's problems using only lighter fluid and incorrect fact.
But here's the point. If your tribe only works when nobody asks hard questions, then your tribe's not standing on truth. It's standing on pressure. Let's talk about one of the biggest signs of tribal manipulation: mercy for us, judgment for them. When our guy messes up, He's human. When their guy messes up, that reveals his entire character.
When our side lies, it was complicated. When their side lies, see the evil?
And when our tribe gets caught, we need grace. And when their tribe gets caught, we need consequences. Apparently, Grace has a membership plan.
Gold level grace, platinum forgiveness, insider mercy.
And if you're outside the tribe, you get the economy package.
Which is just judgment with no legroom.
But that's serious, because selective morality is not morality. It's favoritism with a holy vocabulary.
Real integrity has to work both ways. If lying is wrong, it is wrong when my side lies. If cruelty is wrong, it is wrong when my side does it. If corruption is wrong, it is wrong even when it is benefiting my tribe.
Otherwise, you don't have morals. You have team rules. And team rules change depending on who has the ball.
This is Daniel, and I'm going to speak to that person who has ever felt pressure to say, stay quiet just to keep peace. You saw something. You felt something. You knew something did not sit right. But the room had already decided what everybody was supposed to think. That is why this work matters. This is why truthful manipulation exists. Because sometimes manipulation does not come in yelling. Sometimes it comes in smiling. Sometimes it comes in agreement. Sometimes it comes through people saying, don't make this difficult. Don't divide the group. Don't ask that right now. But sometimes the person asking the question is not the problem. Sometimes the system is afraid of the question, and that's the problem. So keep listening, keep thinking, keep your conscience awake, and remember, truth without integrity becomes a weapon. Integrity without courage becomes silence. This is truthful manipulation, awareness with integrity. And now back to the show. Dave, if tribes had group chats, we would understand humanity much better.
Every tribe does have a group chat. Some are just called meetings.
And in that group chat, there are always roles.
Always. That's the person who sends 47 articles before breakfast.
The person who says, do your research, but their research is a meme with flames behind it.
The person who replies, amen to everything.
Even if nobody said anything spiritual.
Somebody could say, the copier is broken, and they'd say, amen.
Then there's the person who asks one reasonable question and suddenly everyone acts like they set off fireworks in the sanctuary.
And that's why we're doing this.
Whoa. Let's not get negative here.
Translation, your question is dangerously close to the truth.
That's how tribe police think. Not always with force, sometimes with mood, with pressure, with side eyes, with silence, with awkwardness.
Oh, the holy side eye? That side eye has moved mountains and ended conversations.
But the point is this. A tribe does not have to ban truth officially. It just has to make truth socially expensive.
That line matters. A tribe does not have to ban truth. It just has to make truth expensive. Expensive emotionally. Expensive socially. Expensive professionally. Expensive spiritually. You speak up and suddenly people stop calling. You ask a question and suddenly people say you've changed. You point out hypocrisy and now you're divisive.
And that word gets used a lot, divisive. Sometimes it means someone is actually causing division, but sometimes it means you named the division we were benefiting from. That's different.
Very different, because manipulators love fake peace.
Fake peace is when everybody is quiet, but nobody is honest.
Fake peace is when the problem is still there, but the person who named it's been removed.
Fake peace is when the tribe says, we are united. But what they mean is everyone who disagreed left.
That's not unity. That's a clearance sale on conscience.
Real peace requires truth. Real unity requires honesty. Real faith requires humility. And real community does not demand that you lie to belong. Here's something that people forget. The God is not nervous about our questions. People are. Institutions are. Tribes are. Leaders are. But the God is not pacing heaven saying, oh no, Dave asked a follow-up.
God's not sweating because Daniel wants clarification.
He's not calling an emergency board meeting.
Angels, we have a problem. Someone asked for accountability.
Real truth can handle questions. Real faith can handle examination. Real integrity can handle light.
But manipulation hates light because light reveals the wires. It shows who's pulling what, who benefits, who's afraid, who's being used, who's being silenced, who's being protected.
And that's why here at Truthful Manipulation, we ask, who benefits from this belief? Who benefits from this fear? Who benefits from this division? Who benefits from one or me seeing that person as my enemy?
And if the answer keeps being the same powerful people at the top, then maybe it's not the God one running the play. Every tribe has receipts, some real, some imaginary.
Some people keep receipts like they are preparing for Judgment Day and small claims court.
And tribal people love old receipts. Remember what you did in 1997?
Dave, some folks remember a church argument from 1984 like it happened this morning.
They can't remember where they put their keys, but they remember who moved the folding chair wrong.
But this is also how tribes keep conflict alive. They pass down suspicion. They pass down resentment. They pass down old wounds. They pass down old enemy. And before long, people are fighting battles that they did not start, often offenses that they did not experience against people they never even met.
That's generational tribalism.
Oh, yeah. And manipulators love inherited resentment because if they can keep the old wound open, they can keep directing new anger.
That's powerful because some people are not being led by faith. They're being led by an old jury wearing religious language. Let me talk to the leaders for a second. Business leaders, family leaders, community leaders, faith leaders, and anyone with influence. You can't lead people well if you're easily manipulated. And you can't lead people honestly if you're manipulating them. That's why truthful manipulation, a roadmap to live by, matters. Because manipulation doesn't only happen in politics. It happens in boardrooms, families, friendship, churches, negotiations, sales, media, and yes, even in the group text where somebody says, just checking in, but it feels like a subpoena. This is the book that gives you language for what people feel they can't always name. Pressure, spin, fear, guilt, false loyalty, emotional bait. Read the book, use it, talk about it. Because the world just doesn't need louder voices. It needs clearer motives, truthful manipulation, a roadmap to live by, awareness with integrity. And now back to the conclusion of today's show.
Dave, I think every tribe should have to pass the cookout test.
Explain that.
It's simple. If someone from outside your tribe came to the cookout, would they feel like a human being or would they feel like a suspect?
That's good. Would you get a plate or an interrogation?
Yes, exactly. Would someone say, "Welcome, good to see you"? Or would someone whisper, "Who invited them?"
There always is a who invited them person.
Always. Standing next to the baked beans like a Homeland Security or ICE.
But the test matters because faith should expand our humanity. It shouldn't shrink it.
And if your tribe only knows how to treat insiders with warmth, that's not love. That's membership service. Real love is tested with the outsider, the orphan. Real humility is tested with disagreement. Real integrity is tested when your side is wrong.
Yes, because anyone can be kind to the person who already agrees with them. That's easy. The real test is how you treat the person who challenges your comfort.
Or touches the last rib.
So let's give the listener 3 questions. 3 questions to check whether your tribe is helping you grow or helping you hide. Question 1. Does my tribe make me more honest? Not louder, not angrier, not more certain, more honest.
Question 2. Does my tribe allow me to question my own side? Because if you can only question outsiders, you're not seeking truth. You're protecting identity.
And question 3. Does my tribe help me see the humanity of people outside the tribe? If the answer is no, that's a warning sign.
Because any tribe that requires you to stop seeing another person's humanity is asking too much.
That's the line. If the price of belonging is your conscience, the price is too high.
If the price of unity is dishonesty, the price is too high.
And if the price of faith is hatred, something has gone terribly wrong.
Let's make this a practical test review. Here is the truthful manipulation checklist for tribes. Number 1, does the tribe reward honesty or just agreement?
Number 2, does the tribe correct its own leaders or protect them no matter what?
And number 3, does the tribe welcome questions or treat questions like attacks?
And number 4, does the tribe talk more about love or actually practice it?
And number 5, does the tribe help you grow or just teach you who to blame?
And the last one's important because blame is easy. Growth is hard.
Blame gives you a villain. Growth gives you a mirror.
And people don't always like the mirrors.
Especially spiritual mirrors.
Those mirrors have lightning nobody asked for.
But truth requires a reflection, doesn't it? If your tribe only handles your binoculars to inspect other people, but never gives you a mirror to examine yourself, be careful.
So here's where we land. One God, man's different tribes. That's not just a title, that's a warning.
Because tribes can give us belonging, but they can also steal our vision. They can give us language, but they can also take our conscience. They can give us community, but they can also turn outsiders into enemies.
And when that happens, manipulation wins.
Maybe the goal is not to get rid of every tribe. Maybe the goal is to make sure no tribe becomes bigger than truth.
No tribe becomes bigger than conscience.
No tribe bigger than dignity.
No tribe bigger than love.
No tribe bigger than God.
So ask yourself, does my tribe make me more honest,
More humble?
more compassionate,
More courageous?
more human?
Or does it make me more suspicious, more defensive, more judgmental, more silent, more willing to excuse what I know is wrong?
Because if your tribe makes it easier to hate, easier to lie, easier to judge, and easier to look away from suffering, then maybe it's not leading you closer to God. Maybe it's leading you deeper into manipulation.
The one God, man's different tribes, and somewhere between the two is the battle for the human soul.
And maybe also the battle over who brought the potato salad.
There it is. We made it all the way back to potato salad, huh, Dave?
Because every tribe has a theology, but every cookout has a conflict.
This has been Truthful Manipulation. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Dave. Stay aware, stay honest, stay human.
And never let a tribe take the place of your conscience.
If this episode makes you think of somebody, send it to them. Not to win an argument, not to say, see, I told you, not to start a family fight before dessert, but to start a real conversation.
Because we do not need more people yelling from their tribes. We need more people who brave enough to tell the truth from their conscience.
And if your tribe can handle that, it might be a healthy one.
And if it can't,
maybe bring your own potato salad next time. And that's been this week's episode of Truthful Manipulation. Don't forget to comment on today's show at truthfulmanipulation@gmail.com. Pass this on to somebody so we can expand this community. We've doubled it over the last 30 days, so we know we're headed in the right direction. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe at truthfulmanipulation.com and pick up a copy of our book, Truthful Manipulation, A Roadmap to Live By. It'll help you see the manipulations in your life. Thank you for listening.